This is Mario Finkbeiner with MarioFinkbeiner.com. And today's subject is the four pillars of procrastination. When we're finished with this, you'll have an idea of not only what procrastination and what causes it, but how to take steps to move on and prevent it for your success in your business. All right, let's look at the four that I'm going to recommend. There's plenty, but I'm going to pick these four. It's a low task value is number one. That means what? You have a task and you put low priority to it because, again, you say to yourself, oh, I don't like doing this, or it's frustrating, or I don't know all the skill sets on it and that. And you don't want the long-term rewards. You want immediate gratification. This whole society these days is instant gratification, and that's just ridiculous. So, if it's unpleasant, if it's boring, if it's not enjoyable, then what you do is you try to avoid it. People avoid pain. So what I recommend is, like I do, if I have something, I may go from my study in my office and go outside, sit on my gravity chair and do my task there, where it's nice and sunny out and I get to see the dog and play with him. And I may sip of my one of my favorite cups of coffee and that. So that's number one. Number two is personality. That can be a procrastination because, again, some people are motivators, some people are not. Some people are self-motivating and they'll do it. Some people, they have to have everything perfect, or what I call perfectionism. Now, let's give that example. Um, you have, like, I'll give you an example, a personal example for me. I love cookies. Not good for me, but I love cookies. So what I did was to prevent that from my impulses. I took the cookie and I put it up on the top shelf above the refrigerator. But I put a couple things to really prevent me from having that urge. I have injuries to my spine, so therefore I made it so that I can only reach you with a stool. So, and then I took that stool and I moved it to another location away from the kitchen and away from the refrigerator. So now, if I'm sitting in my office or sitting in my chair and I have the impulse to have a cookie, what I have to do, I got to go through the effort of getting up, going to get the stool, bringing the stool over, setting it up, risking having me fall from there because of, my balance and injuries. And you know what? By the time I go through all that, it's not even worth it, and I forgot about the craving. So it's the same thing that I recommend with you. If you're not going to do it and you have a personality where you're going to use excuses, or you're going to easily be distracted, do that. Another one for those that I talk about for entrepreneurs. We're all entrepreneurs if we're going to go online. What I like to do is I like to pick a quiet place because, again, with a quiet place as an entrepreneur, you're not going to be distracted and you're not going to procrastinate because you're going to focus on it. Now, one little trick I learned was I put a timer. Now, some people I've been told you use a timer on the computer. I don't have that yet. Or I don't remember what the application is. I'll find out for another time. But the bottom line is with this, what you do is I put on a timer. Now, I was a mathematics teacher in high school and college. So therefore, I was able to take very difficult mathematical steps, break it down to manageable tasks, like a lot of things, and be able to then build it for the kids. So what happens is my students were able to take, instead of looking and getting overwhelmed with the whole thing, you were able to take it, take different steps, build your momentum each time, and guess what? After you did the 20 steps, you completed the whole project. And that was something important. So, third is expectation. Number three, the expectation. How many of you gone in where you have an expectation? Says, "Oh God, it's gonna be dreadful. It's gonna be such a pain." Well, if you have that mindset, lousy mindset, and expectation, guess what? It's bad, and if not worse than what you have. So what I tell people is to have an expectation where you know you have a to-do list, and what you do is you take the to-do list and you break it into 5-minute manageable tasks. And each time you do the task, you're 5 minutes into it, and I use a timer for it, and with that, it builds momentum. Then guess what happens? The 5 minutes become 10 minutes, 10 minutes become 15, 20, and before you know it, you've done 30 minutes or an hour into the project. And you know what? You feel a lot better about yourself and more confident. Now, the fourth one is the one that I think is the most important. It's goal failures. People use it as goal failures. I'm going to call it two things. I'm going to call it the fear of failure, and more importantly, the fear of success, which is the one I'm guilty of. The fear of failure. How many of you said, "Oh my God, I don't want to do this. I can't do it because you know what? If I look stupid or silly, people laugh at me. I don't know it as good as the guy who's making 100,000 a month." Well, you know what? I'm going to give you back an analogy, and I want you to go back to your childhood. Remember when you were trying to ride a bicycle because you wanted to go see your friends? And even though mom and dad helped you, you fell a couple times, and maybe you had scrapes and that, and you needed boo-boo kisses. But guess what? Did you stop? No. You kept pursuing until you rode the bicycle because you knew you got the freedom to be able then to go and visit your friend without waiting for mom and dad to stop what they're doing to drive you somewhere. Right? Okay, so again, let's recap it. There's what I call four pillars of procrastination. Low task value. The low task value is we avoid it because it's boring or difficult or cumbersome. Second, our personality. Some people are laid back, they don't want it, they're not aggressive, they don't want to take massive action toward it. Third is expectation. If you think it's going to be a pain in the butt, then yes, it's going to be a pain in the butt. And then it's not worth it to you. Maybe your why isn't strong enough. Then the last one is the goal of failure. Um, think about it. The fear of failure is one, but you know what's a bigger fear? The fear of success. That was what I was guilty of. I said, if I'm successful, then all the friends that are hanging out with me are going to be jealous, or I'm not going to have them anymore. And guess what? Get over it. If they don't, if they're not truly your friends, if they don't, what do you call it, celebrate your success, maybe you can even motivate them to follow you in the success. So with that, I'm going to ask you for three things. One, I'm going to ask you to go down, leave a comment below on my blog post, and just give me your takeaway. It can be one of the four, it's something else. Number two, I ask you to subscribe to my newsletter and there. And what I ask in the third thing, if you have a question that you'd like me to address on another day, on another video, just leave a question there or PM me at Mario M. Finkbeiner. And with that, I'm going to wish you a healthy and wealthy lifestyle and have a good evening. Talk to you tomorrow.